Warning: the following content contains explicit language and mature themes. Listener's discretion is advised. This content is intended for adult audiences only. If you find this explicit content offensive or inappropriate, please skip the episode. On today's episode, I was having a lot of technical issues while recording the conversations. There was some accidental manipulation of the microphones that in some cases it did not capture the audio properly, but I tried to save every file as best as I could. I do apologize if today's content does not meet your standards, but please believe me, I'm working on it. I'll make it better. Thank you. On today's episode, I won't be displaying or saying any names for the safety and well-being of my passengers. Enjoy the episode. Hey everyone, welcome to Journey Chronicles, a live story from the passenger seat. I'm your host, the driver, and we had another successful week. We gave a bunch of rides. A lot of people wanted to talk to us, which is good. That it helped me come up with another episode for you guys to enjoy. A story that I have for you guys is when a medium encountered a non-existent passenger in my back seat. And of course, I'll let you know about what happened next. But first, let's welcome some passengers to my car. So buckle up and let's go for the first ride.
Tell me a little bit about the time you puked on a guy.
Yeah, so this was like a week ago.
Alright, tell me that one.
Sorry. I got $5 margaritas from Arriba's Mexican Grill. Beautiful place. Gorgeous. I love their margaritas. Older men bought my drinks.
Yeah.
As it happens.
As they should.
Yeah, as they should. And they kept buying me these drinks that were disgusting and kept making me vomit because I was very sensitive that night.
Damn.
And I was fully like
It happened.
coherent. I was coherent. Anyway, this man was like, come to our table, take a shot. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. So I took a shot. It was a shot of vodka, which I down that shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, hey, to my friend, I was like, I don't want to vomit. We need to go. And then I just was like, never mind. And I turned to the man that gave me a shot, vomited all over him and myself. My shoes specifically.
Shoes?
Yeah, the ones I was wearing earlier today.
At work?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I wore my shoes to a clinic today. But yeah, I vomited all over this man, which isn't as sane as a story as you would think, but also I am glad to give this man an experience that he will never have.
That's a story that guy can tell for the rest of his
that's
life.
my thing. I was like, I'm not embarrassed because he can tell his grandchildren, like, hey, this random 22-year-old woman vomited on me.
That's awesome.
Like, no warning vomited.
Man, I wish that happened.
Beat that, grandson.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
I was in Scottsdale, Arizona, here's the thing. Can I talk about the curse of Scottsdale, Arizona?
Go for it.
Nothing good happens in Old Town, Scottsdale, Arizona.
That's out.
Do not go to Old Town, Scottsdale, Arizona. I've never had a good night. Well, I've had great nights, but something
Sounds like we should go there next week.
always happens.
Sounds like we should go there now.
We
should go there next
Hey, you want to join us? You want to join on the curse of Scottsdale, Arizona?
Well,
Because
I
usually
usually
drive
drive around Scottsdale, Arizona, so
yeah, you know,
Right there.
you've seen.
I've
I've
seen
never had a non-traumatic time at Scottsdale, Arizona. Got in fist fights.
You got into a fist fight?
Yeah, this man.
You win?
He got kicked out. And
That's a dub.
I was like, yay!
But did
I
he
jumped
win?
upside down.
I want to put on the record that she is 1-0.
2-0.
2-0? Wow.
One time, my
a good one.
my roommate and I held hands and vomited in the same toilet together.
That's cute.
It was really cute, but she doesn't remember it. She's blackout drunk.
Bond moments.
No, and I'm like
Bond
pissed that she doesn't remember it. Anyway,
Hey, man.
thank you. This has
Pleasure.
been Journey Chronicles.
Yes.
Oh, I almost dropped it. I dropped it. I dropped it.
Well, how about that, right? I mean, that's not a pretty good night if you're buying a lady drinks and she returns them to you through vomit. I don't think that's a fair trade, to be honest, but you know what? It happens, I get it. But hopefully the guy is okay. I know that my passenger was perfectly fine. We got them to the destination safe and sound. Thank you for the ride, thank you for your story. Hopefully we meet again. And moving on to the next passenger. This ride was a little interesting. They had me doing homework after the ride, which I didn't really mind, but you know what? It was very entertaining. I can't wait for you guys to listen to it. Let's hop on it. I'm warming up the car. Get in, buckle up, and let's go for a journey. Are you guys open for questions or? Okay, cool.
Yes, absolutely. We love that.
So far, what's the best experience you had?
Oh my god.
The best experience for me in the lifestyle, surprisingly, it's not about the sex, but the sex is amazing. It has really been about meeting people, like the love, the relationships and the love between couples. And I am not, I'm single, so I'm only like witnessing it, but she's my sister. Yeah, like in order for couples to be in the lifestyle, the communication is off the chain, right? Does that make sense, Felix?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't pull this shit off. You can't watch your wife fuck somebody else without like being super confident
Right.
and comfortable. It's just a lot of love. That's why I stay. It's
Okay.
it's about the relationships and the love.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, were you guys swingers before or after the relationship?
So for me, my husband and I have been together for 20 years, and we've been in the lifestyle for pretty much 20 years. So it started out with he really liked to watch me have sex with other men, and so he kind of brought that into our circle, and then it just kind of developed from there. I don't know. I thought we tried it out, and I was like, I really kind of like this. There's got to be a world out there of these kind of people. Like, we're not the only ones that are like this, And so I got on the internet, started searching, and I find all these websites. You've got Lifestyle Lounge, you've got Cassidy, there's several different dating sites out there where you can meet like-minded people like yourself. So then it opened, because before, when he first introduced it to me, I thought I was conflicted. I didn't know, is this good? Is this bad? Like, are we weird? Is this okay? And then once I found this community of people out there, it just opened up my eyes and made me feel comfortable that what I felt and what we desired and what we enjoyed in our life wasn't weird. It wasn't bad. It's a normal to our it's our normal. Yeah, exactly. So and we've had our ups and downs. 20 years is a long time to be with somebody and to go through different, and it's like she talks about communication, like it's all about communication. We have to, after every time we would have a date with somebody or meet somebody, how did that make you feel? Did you feel comfortable with that? And things just kept elevating, and we became more comfortable as time went on and as we had more experiences with each other. But just over the last 3 years, we've developed a group of friends that it's like a family. We are basically kind of like a poly family, you could say, in a way, but everybody's allowed to do their own thing and be with whoever they want, but we pretty much spend every weekend together.
So it's a repeated thing with the same people, or do you guys prefer new people?
It's pretty much an orgy every weekend.
Well, I mean, it doesn't. It's
Almost.
everybody.
But everybody does their own.
Yeah, everybody does their own thing. I got into it because I like girls and boys. So
Okay.
for me, that was like a great outlet to meet boys and girls, like couples. Wait, I get to be with a woman and a man.
Yeah.
like, and experience their relationship, like being smashed in between them. It's pretty fucking sexy.
Yeah?
It's very sexy, and she's really good at it.
How intimidated were you though? Your first time, if I can take you back to that memory lane, your first time. How intimidated were you coming in? And what made you say, you know what? I'm kind of digging this.
It's hard. Well, I mean, we were just talking about like the first time I went to like a topless pool party, and I'd never done anything like that. Like, so I mean, I still get intimidated. I'm a woman, right? We all have our like insecurities. We all have our good days, bad days. So yeah, there's still like intimidation, but I feel like this group of people are just more like they're coming to more accepting. They're coming to it with their own insecurities. But there's a book out there that's amazing. It talks about like instead of like they're working through it instead of like working around it. Like they're working through their shit. They're like, and you get to embrace your kinks. Like,
I think that's the biggest.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's the biggest
That
thing.
with no judgment.
With no judgment,
Right.
I think that's
Yeah.
definitely the biggest
Yeah.
thing because there's so many people out there in what we call the vanilla world that and I have a lot of vanilla friends that I'm fairly open with my lifestyle, and they're like so intrigued by it, and you can tell that it's something that they're like, oh my god, you get your husband brings another guy and you get to fuck two guys at once and both at the same time, and you get to do this and you get to do that, and it's like these fantasies that they can only like imagine or see on porn, and that they would love, but they're so conflicted and so restrained within what's supposed to be normal, husband and wife, man and woman, whatever, monogamy, and it's like, no, there's this whole other world of sexuality. It's not, and it can become twisted, throughout the 20 years that my husband and I have been in this lifestyle, we've seen people break up. We've seen a lot of people break up. And it's because, A, they got into it for the wrong reasons. You can't get into it to save your marriage. If you're getting into it because you want to explore a different world together, that's different. But if you're looking at it like, we're just really bored with each other and we need something else to like save our marriage, that it's doomed. You're doomed from the beginning.
Right.
So you have to go into it with the right perspective and the right reasons of what you want out of it, and it can be a very beautiful thing, or it can be a detriment to your relationship.
So with you, for example, you've been with your husband for 20 years, and you started with him. Did you, now that you know who you are right now,
Right.
before you met your husband, do you think that you would ever possibly think about going this route?
No. I was very in a very what do you say? My ex-husband was very, very jealous, and I mean, I couldn't even dress sexy.
Yeah.
And he would demean me. Oh, you're just trying to get people to look at you, or what's wrong with you, or whatever. So I was shamed. And my now husband opened my eyes, because I've always been a very sexual person. I've always loved sex. I mean, I started masturbating when I was very, very young. I had sex when I was 13. I was 13 when I had sex for the first time with my first husband, actually. So I married the guy. But my point is, I've always been very sexual, but my first husband made me feel shameful about it. And my now husband said it's okay. It's okay to want those things, to have these desires, to feel good, to want to feel good, to express your sexuality. And you know, and but no, like before, I would say I always was very interested in girls. Like I've always had that open-mindedness and been sexually attracted to women and had that bisexual side of me.
Okay.
But it was suppressed because of my first relationship
Right.
made it so shameful for me to even consider, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely does. So, a question for the both of you. There's this myth going on around for the people that don't know the that world about the pineapple.
Yeah.
Is it true?
I still don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Upside down.
Upside down
And
pineapple?
I have no idea where it got started.
I don't know where it started either, but
it is.
apparently
No, I'm sure it
Like,
started
it's
some years ago. I'm sure, but I just wanted to confirm. Is that true? You know.
It's an identifier.
It is
There's
an
a lot of identifiers.
there's enough.
Oh, okay. So it's not just the pineapple.
No, there's a lot.
So let's say someone puts the upside down pineapple in a grocery store. Is that him or her welcoming people?
That's what it's supposed to
That was
be.
supposed
You're not
Okay.
gonna, but like you're not gonna.
But I
It's the grocery
I
store.
mean, but you can also feel, you can, honestly,
Yeah.
it's kind of weird. And I'll tell you one quick story. Like, my husband and I took a break from the lifestyle for a little while, and we were at a restaurant, just him and I out on a date, and it's like, there is an energy that swingers give off. There's a vibe. It's almost like you've got it written on your forehead. Like, you could look at somebody and just almost feel it. So if somebody had
sexy.
yeah. If somebody had an upside down pineapple in their cart, I would look at them and I'd be able to know if that was a sign. Yeah, absolutely. But yes,
That's
a true identifier.
But I wish I knew the history.
I do too. I do too.
I'm sure it's somewhere on the internet if we dig
It's out there.
hard enough. Yeah. I'll do the research, and then if I find it somehow, I'll do an add-on.
You should.
Yeah.
I'll do an
definitely
add-on.
do an add-on to it.
Yeah.
That's one of the history because that would be very interesting.
Now, how far do you ladies think you might go with this?
Oh, it's a lifetime.
Yeah?
The
Yeah.
people are way too amazing to ever.
Yeah, sex or not, even like, because I mean, you could be in the lifestyle and just have sex with your partner in front of other people, and that's a turn on.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, we're all gonna get old and saggy at some point, and it's not gonna be like we're gonna be out there, you know, finding a bunch of people that want to have sex with us or whatnot. But it's like just the energy and the openness of the sexuality piece, whether you're bisexual, whether any of that.
You like to watch.
What?
Like,
It's
my
just
friend,
it's
like
such
my
an
friends say, like you like to see, like you're a voyeur, like
it's an energy.
it's like
Yeah. But it seems like, for example, you two have different things that you enjoy in it. For example, you like to be there in the action for the pleasure for yourself.
Right.
And you like it when your husband watches. It sounds like.
I like when her husband watches too.
And now I like to watch my
Yeah, I was there when that happened.
Like I said, we've been in it for 20 years. Up until 3 years ago,
I met you guys.
When she first met me, I didn't really like to watch him have sex with other women. I was jealous. I had a lot of jealousy because that's what I was accustomed to from my previous relationship. So I would think, I would look at him and see him enjoying himself, and I'd be like, is she doing it better than me? Is she better? Is he gonna want that now? And now that is my porn. Like,
that's what I was gonna say. There's no better.
That's what I watch to masturbate. That's my porn, is watching it fuck other women.
Things I have seen.
It's amazing.
Things I have seen.
Yeah.
There's nothing better.
And it's sad that there's such a like a stigma, or like swingers are dirty, or this or that. But listen, we have parties, we get tested almost weekly, bi-weekly, at least once a month. We're very safe, and we stay within our circle.
Probably a lot safer than couples that pretend to be monogamous.
Exactly.
Out there cheating and like.
Zero filming in your guys' group.
No, we do a lot. Well, we do a lot of filming. But
She wasn't kidding. Just no faces, but I have not.
It's for
I
our
have
own
not logged
private
on to
stuff.
any porn.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, it's our own private. It's our own private collection of porn that we have for our group.
Okay.
basically. So we film each other. We film our parties, and then we share all the pictures and all the videos to the group, and then that's what everybody gets to enjoy. And we all have and we have some high profile people in our group that are very private. We've got CEOs, we've got attorneys, we've got you wouldn't think that these people would be in the lifestyle because there's such a tainted vision of people that are in the lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's a whole new world, and it's becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. In fact, this is the first lifestyle club to open up in Chandler, Arizona.
Can't say where.
But we will not say where it is.
No, I
But just
I got you. I got you.
But
I
just
got
so
you.
you know,
It's been a
this
pleasure.
is going to be the first lifestyle
Good
club
luck
in
to you.
Arizona.
You know what?
Glad we opened your mind a little.
I've been dropping off a lot of people here that are in that industry. I never
Now you know.
realized why.
It's not every night. It's a certain nights, but
I'm sorry. Thank you.
Be blessed.
tonight
Thank
is one of the nights. Yes, I'm excited
Pleasure.
to hopefully hear this on your podcast.
Yes, definitely. And I'm gonna do my research, and I'm gonna do add-ons to it. All right, just so you guys can hear it.
Hey, have a safe night.
Thank you. You too.
Enjoy yourself.
Have a good life.
Thank you,
I'm
man. You as
excited
well.
for you.
Start off with the upside down pineapple story. Here it goes. Now I did my research and I looked multiple websites, multiple hours online, trying to find the origin. And of course, there's nothing that leads to a specific origin, but most of the websites do lead to a specific place where it might have started. Now, if someone can fact check this after my story, then good. That way we know that I was completely wrong or I was some part right. But you know what? You be the judge. I'm just going to tell you the story that I gather from all the information that's everywhere. And it took me a couple of hours, to be honest with you. And the story that I'm about to tell you of how it started is how I put it together. It's not put together how I'm gonna explain it online. Again, I looked multiple websites said this and that, but again, they all led to the same place. And again, I'm gonna be completely open on what the story is. Fact check later. And here goes. Back in 1960 to 1970, when people were doing a bunch of crazy things that were good for them and bad for them, but you know what? This is not the story about that. In 1960 to 1970, a bunch of groups that were into orgies already went to Hawaii. And in Hawaii, they were greeted very well. The hospitality was over the top. They loved it. They had such a good time that they were hosting their activities of swingers in Hawaii. Now, of course, they couldn't tell everybody that they were doing that in Hawaii. Now, they weren't telling everybody what they were doing in Hawaii of doing swinger hosting events. Back in the day, again, of course, they had their own codes. And that's how they were able to tell people on the invitation when they went to Hawaii. And when they all got there, it was a perfect season, the perfect time, the perfect months, because it was more isolated. Not many people, and the hotels and ballrooms were more accessible to them. And when the event was over, of course, they had to move on and go about their way. But they loved it so much that they had to reschedule again to make another event of swingers in Hawaii. They go again. They were greeted the same way, hospitality over the top. People are welcoming, and they welcome them with food. But out of all the food that they offered, one of them stand out the most. And now in Hawaii, it is custom to make a cake for guests, to make them feel welcome and accommodated in every way possible. And what was the cake? It was an upside down pineapple cake. The group of swingers that went to Hawaii, they loved the cake. Out of all the food that they were offered, the cake was the most popular one. And that started to happen over the time in between 1960 to 1970. Swingers were hosting more and more events in Hawaii. Of course, they had to keep it on the low because it's a secret event and they don't want to be bothered by outsiders. And on the invitations, they started to put You know you're at the right hotel when the host will offer you an upside down cake. For the hotel to offer an upside down cake to the guests that were on the list. So that's in Hawaii, right? Once they had to leave Hawaii, obviously they had to continue on the events in other states. But there was a problem. They tried to recreate the upside down pineapple cake, but they were not successful. It was either too soggy, too something. There was always something wrong with it that it just would not work. And the person that go to certain states and bake cakes, it was just not the same because some ingredients were better gathered in Hawaii rather than imports in other states outside of the island. So pretty much the secret sauce was stationary in Hawaii. Now the hosts for the swingers was trying to look for other ways to introduce this, meaning make a mold out of the cake. That way people would know, hey, I'm at the right place because there's the mold here of the upside down pineapple cake. But he didn't really want to do that. So of course, over time, there's no specific date, but over time, people came up with the agreement of just using a pineapple. They started using the pineapple upright, regular way, saying, once you see a pineapple, you know you're at the right place. And sometimes that was true. That was the case. Once they see a pineapple, okay, guest list, everything checks out, boom, they're at the right place. So what they started to do from then on was to use the same pineapple fruits, but upside down, to resemble the upside down pineapple cake. Since then, they started to use an upside down pineapple to identify swingers. So one swinger can feel safe approaching the other by seeing that upside down pineapple. There's no specific year, month, hour, seconds, minutes about when they decided to put the pineapple fruit upside down to identify it as a swinger thing, but it was in between 1960 to 1970. And it makes sense because people were wild in those years. So that's the conclusion. The upside down pineapple originated in Hawaii. The group of swingers loved the upside down pineapple cake that they tried to recreate it, but they were unsuccessful. So instead, they used the real pineapple fruit until more hotels were decorating their hotels with pineapples. So they did the upside down pineapple to go back to the origin of the upside down pineapple cake. So that's the story. And of course, as you heard, there's plenty more of signs, but that's for you to find out. And good luck with that search.
I have a funny story that'll
Okay.
make you giggle.
All right.
Okay, so I don't even think you know the story.
Oh, tell us.
So
Do
So
tell.
it's new for you and me, so
New info.
it's not even like dark. It's just fucking hilarious, but it's traumatizing.
throw it out there.
So in college, I took this random to a day party, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, take him to your day party. He's so cute." And I was like, "Okay." So I did. And first of all, he like doesn't show up to the pregame. He barely shows up to the date party. He's so fucking awkward. He's like one of the he's like cutie. You know? So I was like,
see what's
okay,
fine.
like what's going on? So then we're at the date party for maybe 20 minutes, and he's like, let's go back to my place. And I was like, okay. And his place is the house. Like it was like a big frat house. Like I was like not thinking it was like just with him. I was like, okay, we're gonna go party.
We're gonna go
like,
party.
His fraternity, whatever. So then we go back, and he like brings me into his ratchet room, and it's literally like there's like a couch in the bottom, and you have to like climb a ladder to get to his bed.
God.
Like he's like in like a loft thing situation. So anyways, this is gonna get like kind of really graphic.
Are you okay with that or
I don't give a fuck. I don't want to make you scared.
Go for it.
No, because it's like actually really gross.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm just gonna go in, and I'm just gonna pretend like you're one of my girlies. Okay, so
The girlies.
we start making out, and it's like he was being kind of weird, but I was like, whatever, it's fun. And then he like literally throws me on his couch and like pulls his pants down and like literally sticks his dick in my mouth and is like humping my face, and I'm like literally laying on my back, and I'm like,
Okay,
oh
drama.
my god, what the fuck? I like literally can't breathe. I'm like 20 years old.
Oh god.
Yeah, I was like a little baby.
You were expecting to go to the day party.
And yeah, I was like, what the fuck? So then he's like,
Oh, and keep in mind, this is like a themed date party. So I had like fishnets on, and I had like a full fucking
Full
costume on.
stripper.
No, I literally had like a giant t-shirt. It was like a rock and roll.
Oh god.
So I had like a giant t-shirt on. It was just like whatever. And so he's like, "Do you want to go upstairs? Like up his ladder, up his ladder."
Upstairs.
I'm like, "Yeah, bro, let's go up your fucking ladder."
You want to go up
sure.
on my bunk bed?
Do you want to go on my
Do you want to go on my bunk bed? So then I'm like, sure. So
Why not?
then this man literally starts like
Widowy.
widowy and puts me on my stomach and guys, he grabs like Nivea men's lotion and like rubs it in my butt crack and then rubs his dick in my butt crack and literally puts it in me like 2 times and then he came and I was so confused. I kept turning around, giving him fucking dirty looks. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like,
Nivea.
I was literally scared. And he was like, oh, yeah, I'm like talking to a girl, so like, I like can't put it in. And I'm like, what the fuck, bro? Why am I here?
So he just put it in. He just like put it in the crack.
He put it in the crack, and then he put it in like maybe twice, and he came, and then he was like, all right, so like, are you gonna leave?
Oh my god.
I was like, dude, this is like seriously gonna be a core memory for the rest of my life. Like, this is the most psychotic thing I've ever heard.
Before.
And then it happened again.
Same guy.
No, not me. My friend.
Another victim. Oh.
He literally found her in Old Town, took her home, and did same thing to her. Fucking like 4 years later.
Oh my god.
4 years. Like,
Dude,
this
he's still talking to the same
no
girl.
offense, he's literally gay. Like, he just wants to put it. He just like he wants.
Yeah.
To, like, he's gay.
Yeah.
Sorry, he's gay.
I mean, you know, he's just like he's trying to figure it out.
Respect, but like, don't rub Nivea in my ass.
Don't make my.
Follow-up question to you then.
Yes.
I noticed that you even mentioned the brand of a lotion that he used.
Oh, this is like core, this is core memory to like the max. Like, I was seriously like, I walked out and I literally cried, and my friend's house was across the street. I ran into her house sobbing, and all of my friends that they had just like the date party ended, they all went back to her house. They were all there, and they're like, what happened? And I was like, oh,
I can't even explain.
I just like no, and I was like, I have to tell you tomorrow. And they're like, no, tell me. And I was like, nope, I have to tell you tomorrow. Nope. So we all went to breakfast at the U.S. Egg next morning.
No, not at the
It
egg.
was literally like 10 of my friends, and we were on a circle table. Like, couldn't have been better. And I told them the story, and they were literally shitting their pants, like dying laughing because they were like friends with this guy.
Oh my god.
And I was like, yeah, dude, he's fucking weirdo. Like,
well, dude, you're not the only one. He clearly.
oh yeah, and they did it again.
He's a track record.
4 years later. Like, what?
That's his thing.
That's a weird thing to do.
It is a weird king.
Weird.
I mean, it made you stronger.
It made me stronger. Yep. It made me who I am.
It made me who I am today.
Imagine using lotion for something other than where it has to be applied. I mean, it's still skin, but maybe not the right spots, I'm assuming. I honestly cannot imagine what she went through when that happened to her. But, you know, she's fine, she's strong, and I'm glad she made it out of that situation. But hey, passengers, thank you. It was an amazing ride, it was an amazing experience. I loved all the stories, and I can't wait to hear new ones on the upcoming episode. I had such an amazing week. Thank you again, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. And we have a ride to your destination. This is where you get off, and I continue on. But you know what? I can't wait to pick you guys up next week again for another amazing episode. Until next time, this has been Journey Chronicles, a life story from the passenger seat. I'm your host, the driver. Thank you for coming on this ride. Until next time. This story takes place in Los Angeles. I took a ride in downtown LA. It was already getting dark, but not dark enough for it to be creepy dark. I got a request to pick up somebody around the corner from where I was. Drop them off no more than 10 minutes. Cool, easy ride. I started heading that way, made the first corner, and it was right there. As I was approaching him, he was giving me an off look. Once I got in front of him, before he come from the name, he opens my back door. Since I had tinted windows, he couldn't really see from where he was standing on the side of the car. But as soon as he opened the door, he told me, hey, I didn't order a shared ride. I just ordered a regular ride. I'm like, excuse me? I'm not understanding what you're saying. Although I know that you ordered a regular ride, which this is it, this shouldn't be a shared ride. So he looks at his phone, he looks back at me, and he's like, never mind, I got it confused, I'm sorry. He gets in the car. I start the trip, and that's when he lets me know, hey, I'm gonna be in a phone call if you don't mind. I'm like, no problem, you're good. I started driving, and they started talking. I get it. Sometimes people don't want to talk to the drivers, which is understandable. I don't like to force people to talk to me, but sometimes I just wish they don't pretend they're talking on the phone, which that was clearly what he was doing. Well, on the phone, it was odd too because he was asking most of the questions. It wasn't that I was listening to what he was saying, but it did caught my attention a few minutes after that everything he was saying, it was only questions. Questions like, what are you doing here? What's your name? Who are you here for? Why do you need me? What time will you be getting off? Those are just some of the few questions. Of course, it's nothing out of the ordinary, but again, he was the one that was saying all the questions only. Sort of like interrogating someone. Finally, we got to his destination. As I got there, I stopped. I unlocked the doors for him to exit the vehicle. He opens the door. Before closing it, he hands me a business card. And he tells me, this is for you. And don't worry, he's coming out with me. I grab the business card. He closes my door and walks away. I have a habit of locking the doors after a passenger leaves. So I locked that bad boy up. I turned on the map light to see what he gave me. And indeed, it was a business card. It has his name, and on the bottom it said, Spiritualist, mediumship at your service. Was he saying the truth? Was he just trying to make business out of me? I don't know. I never gave him a call. But it was kind of odd how I was the one chosen. Do you believe in the supernatural? Because I've seen some things. And driving at night will definitely have you thinking a lot.